Hi, welcome to our community, our money, the entrepreneur in you. Every month on this show, we will highlight entrepreneurial topics to help our community startups and small businesses. My name is Lucia Navarro. Welcome. This show will present practical and innovative information that will help entrepreneurs in our community. Today's show is on women who want to start or grow their business. This October, Houston Community College's Office of Entrepreneurial Initiatives is hosting a Women's Entrepreneurship Bootcamp that for the first time will be presented in both English and Spanish. And to talk about this bootcamp, I have with me Brenda Rios. Hi. Brenda Rios is the Director of Entrepreneurial Initiatives and Community Outreach for the Southeast Campus, which is hosting this event.
Yes,
welcome.
Thank you.
We also have Catherine Landry, former Executive Director of Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Business Initiative, and entrepreneur woman, you know, and you were growing your own business for a long time, a successful business. Thank you for joining us, Kathy. And Ms. Lara Carreno, Outreach Director and Faculty of Goldman Sachs, 10,000 businesses. Thank you all for being here today. Let's start with you, Brenda.
Yes.
Why are we doing an event like this, a women boot camp here at Houston Community College?
Yes, well, thank you for having us here. Really, Houston Community College has quite a platform for all support for all kinds of small businesses and actually even grown businesses. But here in Houston, we have about 50% that are women, and unfortunately, there's a very small statistic where it's a small woman-owned business. In fact, nationwide, it's 3% that a small woman business gets to grow. And in comparison to all the cities in Texas, we ranked number 10. I mean, we're the fourth largest city
in the US.
In the nation. Yeah. So we really want to make that dynamic change. We really want to have a platform where we can support our women, give them the confidence, give them the resources. Maybe it's a lack of funding or lack of knowing who the right person is to do their formation of their business. So we really want to have that.
Many times is a lack of information what holds their intention to start a business. But how are the statistics about women entrepreneur and men entrepreneur here in the state of Texas?
Yeah, so I mean the statistic again, women start businesses twice faster than men here in Houston, but they don't get to go farther than a year or a year and a half. So we really don't want to leave it as that. You know, we want to kind of change the dynamic again, like after a year. So what happens? You really, maybe talk with the mentor, talk with the financial resources that we'll have at the boot camp, just to understand, what is that barrier that that's limiting you to go further than a year.
Kathy, what triggered your idea, your feeling of starting a business?
Part of my trigger has to do with being in the family business. I grew up in the family business and was very involved in it throughout my teenage years. My parents were entrepreneurs. And then I decided at a point in my life to go off and start my own business, which I did. I sold a business in 1994, and it's still in operation now, 20 years later. It's great to know. But I also have my own business as well as maintain contact or involvement in the family business. But what starts it is the passion to know that there's something that I really like doing, and I want to share that with the world and make a living doing it.
Well, and Liz, you are very involved in the Goldman Sachs program. What do you think is the most challenging thing for those who want to start a business?
I think for everyone has an idea. It all starts with an idea. It all starts with a need. And so I think that passion that drives that individual to step in, sometimes we become our own obstacles, and there's that fear factor. But the city of Houston, it has a tremendous number of resources, but most individuals don't know where to start. What's that process of actually launching, in the finances, the legalities of it, and really identifying who those audiences, were and are. I think that, anybody who's a business owner, after my retirement from corporate, wrote a check, became a partner in my husband's business. But there was a different need that was coming, and I started my own, which is LLC Strategies, which is how I got connected with the Goldman Sachs program. There was a need there. There was a knowledge and a skill set that I had. And so that passion will drive you to what are the steps so that I can go out and look for that client base, because it's there. But people are looking for that checklist, which are provided by City of Houston, WBEA, HMSDC, Houston Community College. Almost every college campus in the City of Houston has those resources. So I think for us, putting on this boot camp, we will be providing a great deal of resources of here's a checklist and here's where you can go for these particular items.
And before we go to our first break, I wanted to know, for you, what is the advantage of having such an event at this boot camp in both English and Spanish?
The opportunity is, my role is to engage with the business community, with chambers and various organizations. People are looking for that information in both languages, and it should be provided in both languages, especially in Houston, in the greater Houston market. You see that need because of the number of organizations in Spanish, las empresarias, that are growing tremendously. So that's a population that needs to be addressed. And for Houston Community College to take that step forward and bringing it in, providing the credentials and partnering with all the organizations that exist in that second language is a tremendous step forward.
Well, we're talking about business, we're talking about opportunity, we're talking about how to face your fears when you are trying to start a business. We're going to talk about fears in our next segment. Then don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
HCC. So many reasons, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
I've seen people's lives change just by attending a class at HCC.
Some of them might not have the financial means to go to a four-year university. That doesn't make them any less quote-unquote smart than the kids who go to a four-year school.
HCC is easy to get to. It's easy to apply and easy to become a part of.
It gave me so much confidence.
Once you finish your 2 years there, you can transition into a four-year university or go into the workforce.
It's affordable, it's accessible, it changes lives.
I am a veteran. My victory was finding the strength to be a champion.
My victory is having a job I can be proud of.
At DAV, we help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
My victory was finishing my education.
My victory was getting help to put our lives back together.
DAV provides veterans with a lifetime of support.
My victory is being there for my family.
Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Coding is the 21st century equivalent of the English language. And our particular flavor of this is the iOS Coding and Design School. And Apple's been very supportive. It's a great opportunity to combine creativity with technology.
HCC. So many classes, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
Welcome back to our community, or money, the entrepreneur in you. We're talking about business, about opportunities, we're talking about challenges, and we're talking about fears. Kathy, what can you tell us about the fears that a lot of women face when they have the idea of starting a business? Maybe am I gonna make it? Can I do it from home? Where do I go? Because I've been a stay-at-home mom for many years, so how do we deal with that?
Lucia, you just identified some of the very significant fears that women do have. And I think that's very important to recognize up front, that there are things that could get in the way. But if you let your fear hold you back, you won't go anywhere.
Of course,
you have to get past that. And one way of getting past the fear is making sure that you have the biggest network of resources that you can find. And that's very, very important, that you have a support system, that your family, that your friends, whoever, support your idea, that you've legitimized and validated your idea in many ways, and that you surround yourself with the resources that you need. Again, a good reason why this boot camp is so important to women. If they have that passion, they have that idea, but there's a fear to start, this is where you go to get that information, the resources, and the push to move forward.
What about networking? I mean, sometimes they say about many women that we don't help each other, but it's not true. There is a lot of women willing to help others and willing to share their knowledge and their experience with new business owners.
I think it's also about finding the right organizations to network with. Whether you're a startup or you are growing your business, it's really being a little more strategic. I mean, we're the 4th largest city in the world. There's no shortage of business networking and associations. So being strategic, you know, I always tell people that you don't get your time back, and you need to look at time as money. So for every hour that you are away from your business, your family, it better be spent either making or saving money. So finding the right organizations in your industry to network with. Am I going to be in a room with other individuals that are competing for the same thing I am? Do I need to go after the organizations where I will have my potential customers? So really being strategic about where you want to begin to engage and focus your audience.
I think just to fit into that, I mean, I think also the women entrepreneur has to know what the ask is depending on what audience or what organization. It's probably not going to be the same per organization, you know, so you have to strategically, going back to what Liz was saying, just strategically think who you should ask what for your business.
Yeah, we were talking off camera about that. I mean, how does women see themselves when it's a business scenario? Sometimes they don't really see themselves like, you know, a real business person, and we are business people.
Right.
One of the comments that we shared is that sometimes I have met with women at events, and they've even spoken out loud in the audience, and that sometimes I'm the only woman in the room, or I'm a woman and I'm Latina or I'm African American, and they seem to bring those two issues up when they question their validity. And I said, did you ever think about that you were basically taking somebody else's coin? You're now a new powerhouse in this particular market. So women don't always tend to look at themselves as competition. They tend to look at themselves as women and then their ethnicity before really looking at, hey, I've got game and I'm here. And that's really where that focus needs to be, because my question to them was, who put that in your head?
That's
you know,
right.
You are competition, and that's how you need to look at yourself.
What would you say, ladies? What is more difficult, to do business in the United States or in the Houston area, or doing it international? What is the difference?
I mean, maybe, especially for the Hispanic entrepreneurs, I think maybe the difference is the language barrier here in America, or like even the process of legalizing your business obviously is different than each of our Latin countries, you know? So I think that could be like a fear for many of them, just to kind of not have that confidence and to just find out the right details to go on. That might be a factor, but I don't know.
How do you deal with the regulations, with all those things? I mean,
we did some business in Southeast Asia, and we found that there can be a cultural difference, and you have to respect that cultural difference, whether it's here in the United States or somewhere else. That sometimes your business, the way you present it, depending on the receiving end, that you have to adapt your messaging and make sure that you respect the culture that you're in. And that helps tremendously. I think you shouldn't let it set you back.
Exactly.
Bottom line to all of it, in my mind, to get past the fear is the more information you have, knowledge is power. And being knowledgeable in what you're doing and what you're presenting, what you're growing, your business, everything about it, that's what gets your messaging across the most. Knowledge is everything.
Yeah, knowledge is everything, and this bootcamp will have information from many outlets,
Yes.
from many important segments. From how do you polish your idea, how do you build your idea, to how do you put it together.
Yeah.
How do you make it a real thing?
I think that diversity, one of the successes of the Goldman Sachs program is that in a classroom, there is a diversity of business owners. You do not have 5 marketing, 5 construction, or 5 CPAs in there. And the success of that, when you go to an event, which is why I said it's important to be strategic, is that if I'm sitting next to somebody that's in a different industry, then their perspective and their approach to looking for resources or problem solving are very different. And if you allow yourself to be open, for not looking at things as an obstacle, but here's the situation, how do I address it? And that's really the beauty, when it comes to networking. At the boot camp, we're going to provide different resources for you to walk away with on how to actually start that process. But at the same time, we'll also have some of our partners there that you can contact after the boot camp so that you can continue that particular process.
And not only that, I mean, the speakers themselves, many of them are actually very successful women entrepreneurs here in Houston. So they're going to share both their challenges, their opportunities, like how did they make it? Obviously they started with an idea, but
And they start small and then suddenly they grow, like your family business. Well, the family tradition that you make it on your own business.
Yes.
But the Houston area has a lot of veteran women. What are the opportunities for them? Because and some women don't think that or they think that if they did not go to the front lines, they're not veterans, and they are. What are the opportunities for them?
Business is business in any structure. It is understanding what the core of your business is, which is what the boot camp will do. The opportunities that exist for veterans are the additional resources when it comes to funding, when it comes to additional maybe relationships that they can now build on.
Okay.
I think it's all about relationships. It's not any different than international business. It's about relationships here. So when you come in with that skill set, you need to look at it as a skill set. How do I amplify it? Build my business, and then what's available, because I am a veteran and I have served my country, and how can I move forward to serve now my community with the help of these resources.
We're women talking about business and how you can create your own business and build your own idea to make it a success. In our next segment, we'll be talking about mentorship, so don't go anywhere. We have more information for you.
HCC. So many locations. So little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
I learned how to cook from my grandmother in the mountains of Oaxaca. Every time I need some comfort, I just remember what she told me. HCC definitely was a turning point in my life. What those wonderful teachers and instructors taught me is priceless. I have won many awards and worked in many restaurants. HCC was the window which opened the opportunity for me. For this wonderful city, they have given me so much. I will thank you from the bottom of my heart.
HCC. So many careers, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
Welcome back to our community, Our Money, the Entrepreneur in You. Any business starts with an idea. Good, bad, polished, not polished, but with an idea. But to help polish the idea, there is always the canvas model. What is the canvas model?
The Canva model, in comparison to a business plan, is it's a format. It's a visual format that allows a business, somebody who has an idea, or a business owner that is looking for flexibility, to begin to put in information about their product, their idea, identifying audiences, kind of creating a visual path. It's a much simpler tool than a business plan, and that's not to say that a business plan will not be used further down. But for somebody who's just starting, in particular the audience that we're going to have at the boot camp, it's something that's a little more flexible for them as an individual or as a team to be able to look at, and then how to navigate that process.
What do we need to create the Canva model for our business?
You have to start with your idea
Well,
first,
yeah,
obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously. Liz is going to walk everybody through that whole process of developing the Canvas model. And, but like anything else, the more information you have about your idea, the potential customer base, who would like your product, do you have any idea how much it's going to cost to make your product,
very
to
difficult
provide
to
it?
determine, by the way, the price.
Absolutely, and you can't just arbitrarily pick a price. There is, like Liz was saying, building a business, there's some structure to it that you need to have the information you can, gather as much information as you can about the idea, about the concept, market research, market study, you pull all of that together. And then using something like the Canvas model, you start laying it out in pieces that make sense and help you set up the next path, the task list, the development, how do you go to the next step?
Yeah, and it differs if you're thinking, if your idea is a product or a service. So you have to really do your research as to what your audience should be, your customers, like again, the cost, the revenue, what are the distribution channels, the marketing, how are you going to sell it? Are you going to use e-commerce? Are you going to be online, door to door? Yeah, like what's best for your actual business?
So it looks like it's a lot of work, but it has to be summarized in one sheet of paper, right?
In one sheet of paper, which is the biggest difference between that and a business model, because a business plan, which can be 50 to 100 pages, has a lot of forecasting. There's a lot of assumptions that need to be created and put in a business plan, which you will get to. But what we have found is those business owners that have that great idea, they go from idea to implementation. Well, the reason that most businesses don't last is they forgot the middle part, which is the core operation, creating that plan for sustainability. And so with the Canva model, it is a much easier visual map that allows you to go in and start testing each of the areas. There's a standard pricing for almost every product and service that is provided. So this will really push that individual that has that great idea that you need to do some of this research before you even go out and start testing.
Kathy, do I need to put money out of my pocket to start a business? Or there is opportunities out there. There is sources of financing to start a business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think there's many ways to look at it. We talked about veterans earlier, that there are opportunities for veterans. There are, excuse me, business startup grants that can be available. Business pitch, HCC has a business pitch where you can win money that helps go towards startup. So there's a lot of opportunities, and we'll have information like that at the boot camp.
Well, we can have a great idea, we can have a great Canva model, but if we don't have mentorship, sometimes we may not be successful in our business. What are we going to offer these women in the boot camp this October 18 and 19?
Yes.
And mentorship.
So after all the exercises and the inspirational stories, it's going to be a full day of resources. At the end of it, we'll have mentoring roundtables with SCORE and Silver Fox advisors. And the importance of mentorship really is to have your questions answered. And the wonderful part about it is that you get to schedule a follow-up meetings with the SCORE mentor that's in the room, or an appointment afterwards. Like, it doesn't have to be the day of. I mean, you'll probably come up with questions after the event, and so you have the beauty of actually connecting and doing further meetings with them.
And we have two experts in mentorship here with us. Kathy and Liz are both from the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Business Program, which is a great opportunity for mentorship, actually, for people that already have businesses.
Yeah. Absolutely. Many of the business owners that go through the program connect with other business owners. They help each other because we believe that peer learning, what you learn from each other, can often be what moves you forward. Like I said, knowledge is everything. And if somebody else has that knowledge and you can get guidance from them, then that's the perfect way to go. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and it's also removing the barrier of embarrassment of questions. Some business owners don't want to share what they don't know, when that is really the place that they should be asking those questions. And so we want to see the diversity of women and age groups, because you can start a business at any age. The resources are there. So come with a list of questions that are your current challenge, because someone else there may have already gone through that process. And we encourage the seasoned business owners to share what they know. But it's also being prepared. We could sit here, Kathy and I could spend all day long taking calls from business owners, but it's like, you really have to be selective and come in. What are the 3 or 4 questions that you really need help with? And that will be our focus to move on.
It really goes two-way, because you really have to connect with a mentor that you can relate to as well. I mean, you're not limited to just finding one mentor, but to somebody that you can relate to and actually see yourself as somebody like that person.
So October 18 and 19, the business bootcamp for women.
Yes.
Southeast Campus.
Yes. Learning Hub is the auditorium. We'll be there, and we're really quite excited to see you all. They can register at the online. I think it will be on the show, hccs.edu/women's bootcamp. You can register now. It's only $20, $5 for HCC students, and this actually goes to scholarships for our HCC students and organizations. So we really encourage everybody to come.
So a good opportunity to develop your business idea, to find your path to success, to successful business, and to do something good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Liz, Kathy, and Brenda, for being here with us. And for you, don't forget, register online, hccs.edu/women's bootcamp, as shown on your screen, and we'll see you then. Thank you.